Hi, I'm Todd here at Retül headquarters, Boulder, Colorado, and this is Ryan, and we're here to shoot a short instructional video for you on how to set up the Move SL for a sizing appointment or for the start of a fit. We've created a web application for you to use, and it's located online at www.retul.com/sizing. There's a couple inputs that you're going to have to put into this application. The first one is rider type. So the first thing you're going to have to do is classify your rider into one of three categories: enthusiast, competitive, or professional. For sizing purposes, the professional category will create an initial position that's very aggressive. The enthusiast category will create an initial position that is very comfortable, and competitive is somewhere in between. The next thing you're going to have to input is the rider's leg length. So the next input is thigh and shin length. So I'm going to show you guys how to measure those with the Zin tool. Finally, you're going to have to enter a gender and an age in an email. So let's go ahead and we're going to call Ryan a competitive rider for the sake of this demonstration. And now I'm going to show you how to measure his thigh and shin length. Okay, so in order to get accurate measurements off your rider's leg, we recommend you actually mark the ankle, the knee, and the hip, and then we're going to use the Zin tool to measure those segment lengths. So this is just the way you learn to mark these points when you're in Retül University or SBCU. What you're going to do is you're going to find the ankle bone and put the marker right in the middle of the ankle bone. The next marker up is the knee. So you're going to locate the femoral condyle and take them to the bottom of the pedal stroke and then put that marker right on the end of the femur. And then the third one is you're going to mark the greater trochanter. Good. Okay, so now you're going to use your Zin tool to measure the thigh length and the shin length. So if you go to the Freeform Measurement tab in your version 7 software, you will see a button that's called Zin A Length. You're going to hit that button and it's going to ask you for the points in your segment. The first point's going to be the hip, second point's going to be the knee. The important thing is between when you take this point and this point, your rider does not move. Hip. The second point is the knee. Okay. And immediately after you take those 2 points, it will give you a measurement as 433 millimeters. The second segment we're going to measure is the shin. So we're going to do it in the same way as the thigh. Hit the length button again. And now the first point is going to be the knee. And the second point is going to be the ankle. Okay. And that's 414 millimeters. So now, if you go back to your sizing application, you'll see where you can enter those numbers. So for thigh length, for Ryan's 433 millimeters, and for shin length, it's 413 millimeters. Okay, the next input is gender. So we're going to pick male, and if you have a female rider, make sure you pick female because there are subtle differences in the initial setup. Next is age. It's not a critical entry, but we try to input as much as we can. How old are you, Ryan?
26.
26. And then his email address. Once again, it's not a critical field, but if you want to be complete, ryan.marshall@specialized.com. Okay, and you hit search. So once you hit search, the application is going to give you a bunch of different information. Number one, it's going to give you a starting saddle height. So the starting saddle height for this sizing or fit will be 751 millimeters. I'll show you how to set that in a second. It's also going to give you suggested bikes. So it's going to suggest a bike size. In this case, for Ryan, we're going to size him to a tarmac. It suggests starting on a 56. So at this point, what you're going to want to do is click the Move SL button on the top corner of the bike that you want to set up. And it's going to give you a list of setup parameters that you're going to have to complete at this time. First, it's going to give you that starting saddle height of 751 millimeters, and it's also going to give you a clamp setback of 197 millimeters. So at this point you can have your rider get off the bike, and we're going to start with the setup procedure. Okay. The first thing to set is the Move SL clamp setback to 197 millimeters. So we have a ruler for that, and it is made to fit exactly. It's going to slot in on the horizontal movement here, and you're going to measure to the middle of this bolt. So you're going to move the clamp back and forth until the center of this bolt is at the value that you want to hit, and in this case it's 197 millimeters. The next thing you're going to do is set the saddle height to 751 millimeters. I usually do this on the non-drive side. And keep in mind, this is just a rough starting point, so you don't have to get it millimeter accurate, but you want to get it as close as you can. Keep in mind, we do measure our saddle height to the midpoint of the saddle, so if you're not real good at eyeballing that point, you might actually want to mark it. And the easiest way to mark it is going to be to measure your saddle tip to tail, and then put this marker right on the midpoint, which in this case is 14 centimeters. So now I'm going to measure from the center of the bottom bracket to that point of the saddle and set it to 751. Okay. So at that point we have the saddle to bottom bracket relationship set. The next thing on the app you're going to want to set is the frame, stack, and reach. In this case it's saying 564 for the stack, 395 for the reach. Okay, so the first thing I usually do is the reach. So if you pull out the stack and reach ruler, you'll see reach is the scale along this side. Then if you turn it over, the stack is the scale vertically. So we'll start with the reach, 395. You're going to put that ruler right into this slot and then measure to the blue part of this horizontal movement. 395. And the next thing is set the stack to 564. And you hold this ruler right on the black part and measure this gap right here. 64. You guys also have a set of rulers for each specific bike. So if you don't want to use the millimeter ruler, you could actually, in this case, use the tarmac ruler, and then you just look at sizes rather than numbers. So it's set to the 56 on the reach, and it's set to the 56 on the stack. Either way you want to do that is fine. Okay. Moving along, this gives you a lot more information about the default equipment on the bike. So the top cap, or the dust cap on the headset, is 20 millimeters. So what I want to set is 20 millimeters between the frame and the stem here to simulate the top cap. The next thing I want to set is the stem angle and length. So it comes with a 100 millimeter stem minus 8 degrees. So I'm going to use my angle stem. I'm going to set that to 100 millimeters. Then the angle, just set right here, to minus 8 degrees. The handlebar width that comes on here is 42s. So I've already put 42 centimeter bars on here. And then the final thing is to set the crank length. In this case is 172.5. For that you're going to need a 6 millimeter Allen key. And there are 2 bolts on this crank which you're going to want to undo. And you want to back these out a little bit of the way, but not all the way. And then you'll find this crank can slide along these slots fairly easily. And you set it right to the mark that you want to get to. In this case, 172.5. And then when you tighten it, make sure you give it a good crank. And you want to make sure you do both sides for the crank. Okay, so at this point, your initial position is set. For sizing or fitting, you can have your rider hop up and start with your warm-up. So the things to keep in mind here are this is a starting position. This is a position that has been predicted off of the Retül database of thousands and thousands of fits, but it's not going to be perfect for everyone. So what does it give you? Gives you a good starting point to start working from during a fit, and it also gives you a starting point for a bike size.